Kings Island is one of the greatest amusement parks in the US, and probably the world, and we are lucky enough to have it as our home park. And with it having a stacked coaster collection, it has been a struggle to choose our favorite thrill ride here. But after recent visits, we have found our number one to be Orion. This B&M Giga coaster really has it all, with its massive drop, insane stats, and underrated airtime. And so today, we will be having a review on this coaster, and why it's so dang good.
Orion is a B&M Giga coaster located in Area 72. It opened in 2020 as the tallest and fastest coaster at Kings Island. It has many huge elements and intense forces, with great airtime throughout its short but complete layout. This ride has 3 trains featuring 8 rows of floor-across seating and features B&M's classic clamshell restraints. It has a total height of 287 feet, and you might be thinking, it's not a Giga because it's not 300 feet, but it actually features a drop into a valley that makes it 300 feet. So yeah, no fighting in the comments. This coaster has a length of 5,321 feet and a top speed of 91 miles per hour. By these stats, you can already see how great of a coaster this is.
And personally, one of my favorite parts about this attraction is its criminally underrated backstory. I mean, I have never been more excited to get on a coaster just to complete the story it has to offer. And if you don't already know what it is, basically, Earth gets hit by big bad asteroids so humans can't live there anymore. But luckily, there is a planet that we can all live on, which is located in Orion's belt, which, if you didn't pay attention in 6th grade science class, is a constellation made of 3 stars that looks like this. And so humans are planning to go there, but the journey there will be pretty rough, like Vekoma SLC rough. So they need people to test if they can make it. And the sequence or machine used to see if people can make the journey without dying is the roller coaster Orion. So you are basically helping out the government by seeing if you can die or not die by leaving Earth. But I find this to be the best story out of any coaster in the world. And along with Flight of Fear, it makes Area 72 the best theme section at Kings Island easily.
Now that you know a bit more about this coaster, let's go over the ride experience and our thoughts about each element. It starts off with the best chain lift in the park. Yeah, you heard me. This thing is so fast. I mean, it takes about 15 seconds to go 300 feet in the air. And it's so quiet versus some other coasters like Steel Vengeance, Mystic Timbers, or even Zambezi Zinger for crying out loud. You then go down the part of the ride that attracts all the guests, that 300-foot first drop, which is the best in the park. It feels like it lasts forever and has some great floater throughout the whole duration. After an intense level out, you go into a wave turn. Now this element is controversial because many people dislike it and just call it a plain turn, but I actually really like it. It offers a weightlessness sensation, and even though this sounds GP, it feels like you're going to fall out of your seat. After this, you go into a fairly good turnaround. This offers some okay forces, but I mean, come on, what do you expect from a turnaround? Next, you enter one of the best elements ever conceived on a coaster, which is the glorious B&M Speed Hill. It definitely provides some great flow ejector throughout the whole element, and let me tell you, flow ejector in a clamshell is one of the weirdest feelings I have ever gotten on a coaster, and it is truly something you need to experience to understand.
After this, you go into a camelback, which would give good airtime, almost as good as the Speed Hill, if it weren't for trim brakes. But even so, it still gives some great flitter, and is one of Orion's underrated airtime moments. Next, you go into Orion's belt, aka a big helix. Yeah, they really didn't have to give it its own name, but I will admit, this thing slaps. It is one of the most intense moments on any coaster in the park, and it took me at least 10 rides to keep myself from graying out on it. And I personally love it because it was the first time I ever experienced the sensation of graying out, so I have a personal love for this element. They then take your picture, and I gotta say, Kings Island did people dirty by putting the camera after the most intense element. But I do love looking at the ride photos afterwards and seeing everybody's face plastered to the back of their seat. Then, you go into what is probably the best element on the coaster, a reverse dangle dive. I mean, that's what I think it's called. Wikipedia just calls it a hill. But either way, this thing offers what a speed hill does, but better, and there are laterals to come with it. And on top of all that, it's the last element, and it's the best. Besides Magnum, the Beast, and, I don't know, maybe Banshee? What other coasters can you say that for? And finally, you go into the brake run, but Orion doesn't just let you go into the brake run without hitting you with one final pop of airtime, which you get going into those brakes. And I feel like nobody talks about this, but I find it to be my third favorite moment of airtime in the park. But then, the ride concludes, and you have time to think about what the heck just happened.
Now that you know what this ride is like, it's time for us to talk about our opinions of Orion. My first time going on it, I thought it's probably not going to be my favorite coaster at the park, but after riding it, I was shocked at how much great airtime and forces there were. I would say my favorite moments on this coaster are the speed hill and the final element before the brakes. These elements provide amazing pops of flow ejector and frankly the best in the park. I think Orion gets too much hate because enthusiasts are comparing it to Fury, when they should really compare it to other coasters in the park. Overall, Orion is a great coaster and my favorite at Kings Island.
With all this said, thank you for watching this video. And make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed us talking about coasters. And if you really liked us talking about coasters, then subscribe. Because with summer coming up, we will be pumping out content like never before. And finally, sorry that it's been a bit since we posted. But like I said, we will be better next time. So thank you all again for watching, and we will see you later. Peace!